Hi everyone, good afternoon. I'm Pulkit Joshi, Head of Marketing at HROne, the simplest HR software for the most complex operations. I welcome you all to today's masterclass on the topic the HR Playbook for Corporate Entrepreneurship, Creating a Culture of Innovation. Our trainer for today's session is Dr. Varadharaju Janardhanan, Vice President of HR at Flipkart. Today's masterclass is based on thorough 3 years of research and is a product of real life use cases carried out by Dr. Varadharaju and his co-author Professor Bala at Indian Institute of Science. Dr. Varadharaju is a distinguished global HR leader with nearly 3 decades of experience in transforming talent and people functions across startups, mid-sized companies, and MNCs. An award winning thinker, author, educationist, and certified executive coach, Dr. Varadharaju is passionate about building organizations for scale while giving back to the HR and student communities as a mentor, speaker, and a guide to early stage tech founders. As an exciting addition to today's session, 5 lucky participants would receive a signed copy of Dr. Varadaraju's latest book, A Billion Dreams Decoding Flipkart's Growth Story. The winners would be shortlisted by Dr. Varadaraju himself based on the most interesting questions asked during the session. Without further ado, I would like to call Dr. Varadaraju to deliver today's masterclass session. Sir, the floor is all yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pulkit. Thanks, HROne, for organizing this session. Good afternoon, all uh, fellow HR professionals, leaders who have joined this session. For the next 40-45 minutes, I'm going to really walk you through this unique research piece that I, along with my co-author, Professor Bala, that we conducted this research on corporate entrepreneurship, and this it's a use case keeping Flipkart in mind, right? So here's going to be the discussion blueprint for today. uh, I'm going to really decode what prompted me and my co-author to carry on this research, and what are those key critical gaps that we will be filling. And then with that, I'm going to really talk about what is corporate entrepreneurship mean, the culture of corporate entrepreneurship. Once we kind of understand the first three elements, and then I would straight away jump into some use cases, and finally uh, the most awaited section of what is that culture looks like, which really prompting uh, very key this entrepreneurship culture. So that's how, like, I'm going to really structure. It's going to be in three parts. In As we really move on, I'm going to really ask the organizer to really have few Mentimeter question. So before we really start, I just want to really ask the HR1's team to flash the first Mentimeter question. Bharat, do you want to really flash the first question? Bharat?
Yeah, the question has been flashed.
Okay, fantastic. So maybe you can give a 40 seconds, and then see the question is, how many entrepreneurs emerged from Flipkart? So maybe you can just uh, try to decode that number, and interesting findings going to really come out.
This is for all the listeners. You will have to go to Mentimeter, menti.com. That's the website, and then you'll have to put the MRR code. Uh, it's 64340095, and you'll be able to punch in your answers. Okay, so we have got two responses. Few people are posting in the chat box as well. One response says 15. The other person says Spinny, I remember, but I'm sure there are many. 20.
Okay.
And if you look at the chat box, we have gotten one person to say 5, 250, 3, 30, 500. So yeah, a lot of variance there, Dr. Varadharaju.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Nice. I think I'm sure people will keep posting their answers. Um,
Sure.
very interesting stuff in terms of one of the reason why my co-author and me we got into this research is Flipkart has produced more than 200 entrepreneurs, and the number is steadily growing to the startup ecosystem. And in fact, that is one of the reason which actually um, made me to kind of go deep into this research. Um, our research ended. We started in 2020, and then it ended in 2022. So when I'm quoting the number is as of 2022 August or something, and then from there to now, it's almost another 1.5 year. The number is very, very steadily growing. So that's one element which actually got us to get this research. The second um, is in less than a decade, Flipkart has achieved the decacorn status. All of us know the unicorn. Unicorn is those companies where they get to a $1 billion valuation status, but decacorn is a $10 billion status valuation, right? In less than a decade, Flipkart got that status of a decacorn. That was the second reason why uh, we got even more curious. The third, very, very interesting dimensions. When we looked at the industry, the success rate of an M&A, right? The success rate of an M&A is probably worldwide in the industry. It's about anywhere between 33-35%. But when we calibrated during the research period, till the research period, the kind of M&A that Flipkart embarked, what came out the number is it is actually the reverse. Almost two-thirds, almost 70% of the M&As that Flipkart embarked till the research period have been and we see that it's successful, and that's a third element which got us very, very curious. I'm going to really flash the screen where you would really whatever I spoke, pretty much all of them are these are the major four element where we just thought if company has done this much, that means there is some very unique culture should have really driven the company toward this path. So and therefore we wanted to decode that culture, right? Yeah, it's great to really have those being curious. Those are the large areas where we want to do. But then, from a research standpoint, does it really fill a critical gap? A lot of times when I go and talk to people, they say, "Is this research a Me Too research, Me Too product, or is it going to really kind of be fill the gaps that is currently existing in the industry?" Um, so when we went deeper into our journal reviews, what we figured out is pretty much more than 95% of the research on corporate entrepreneurship is done in an emerged economy. That's number one. Number two, uh, in the emerged economy, all the research on corporate entrepreneurship is done where the company is either a large matured public company or a mid-sized company. Very minuscule part is probably like a startup. So that's the second gap. If you just look at India as a region, we are an emerging economy and we are not emerged. So because this research have been done in an emerged economy, it's pretty much the West, but we don't have a research which actually can where the people in India can actually relate. So that's one. And second, all the research, since it's been done at a public large public company and the mid-sized company, India is known for its startup, and there is not many references around this area on corporate entrepreneurship around the startup. So those are the two big gaps. Outside of this, I'm going to really flash my screen. That's the first point wherever what I really spoke. 74% focus on publicly traded company. The second most very important element is there is no unanimous finding on the relationship of the culture of corporate entrepreneurship and firms' performance. What I mean by that is how is this culture of corporate entrepreneurship impacts the firm's performance, either the top line or the bottom line or the customer acquisition or the people element. There is no unanimous finding. That's again a big void, right? So that's a second gap that this research would really address. The third very interesting one is um, it is yet not clear how is this culture emerges within an organization, right? Is it by default or the management team have consciously acted on it? There is not a very clear evidences on this particular element, right? If somebody have to replicate this and then want to build an organization which has this culture, there is no playbook that is really available, right? And the last but not the least, very very important one is this culture only impacts the organization, or it can go beyond organization and it can impact the startup ecosystem? There is no evidence on that, right? The first Mentimeter question that I really asked, right, is fundamentally to kind of give you a little bit of snippets of how as Flipkart has contributed to the startup ecosystem in the form of entrepreneurs, the newer startups, and all of that. So that's a I just thought I would place that. And therefore, this research is extremely unique, and it's not a Me Too product, and has a greater significance specific to an emerging economy like India, where the future is all about startup and it is still evolving. So that's pretty much is the white space that this book, the research book, would really address. I hope that I have kind of explained all of you why this research and what are the spaces that this would really address. So now, after understanding these two, now let's dive slightly deeper into what is this. I've been talking about corporate entrepreneurship for some time now. What does this culture mean, right? What is this culture of corporate entrepreneurship? Bharat, do you want to flash the second Mentimeter question? What is corporate entrepreneurship culture according to you? What are those traits? If you can just pick your Mentimeter and if you can answer the
The second question is live, sir.
is
What's
live,
corporate
right?
entrepreneurship
Yeah.
question?
I would urge the participant if you can
Attendees
start
can
posting.
use menti.com and use the same code to revert for the questions.
Yeah. As responses come, maybe Bharat, if you can if you can voice out, because I'm not able to see the Mentimeter screen.
Audience can use the menti.com website and use the code 64340095 and answer the question, what's corporate entrepreneurship culture? There are two responses, sir. Empowerment to take decision and risk within the corporate world and also own the outcomes of it.
Very nice.
Values, beliefs.
Yeah, one is ownership, second is risk taking. Is there any other response
There are
that
two
you got?
questions on the chat box also. The process of endeavoring to identify courage and assist entrepreneurship.
Nice, nice.
Somewhat works within a company to developers, ideas, and products.
Excellent. I think pretty much all the three resonates to the core definition. I'm going to really flash one of the commonly referred definition of corporate entrepreneurship. Um, but I'm going to really going to move on with my slides. And this is the commonly used definition where it really talks about in an organization where new ideas and creativity are expected, not just expected but also experimented, right? So whenever you there is a culture of experimentation prevails. Experimentation stems with risk taking. That's the second point, where risk takings are encouraged. Whenever there is a culture where there are a lot of risks are involved, it's not all the bets people take see the light. Some part of it may not even cross the first stage. So the culture should actually have a tolerance to failure. That's a third element. And through those, the learnings are promoted. So this the first four are very very core to corporate entrepreneurship, and that really stems your innovation aspect. Innovations are championed. Whenever we talk about innovation, people think innovations are pretty much box to engineering product, but what it really tells is not just innovations around product, but also process innovation, market innovation, financial innovation. All of them have to be championed together. Then finally, I think this we all know, like the change is the only constant. So continuous change is viewed as the conveyor of opportunity. So this is a broad definition of corporate entrepreneurship. Keeping this in mind, we embarked and see how much of this are lived and experienced in Flipkart. So now what you're going to see from now on is the output of that. So I spoke about this is a research book, very unique. One need to really also understand whenever there's a research, there are some boundaries and scopes. I won't really talk about that. This again, this study is exclusively confined to Flipkart, and therefore, whenever you see some model, some diagrams, please ensure this is confined to Flipkart, and therefore the outcome is based on that. Um, then, very important element in a research, the reliability and validity of the outcome is extremely important. Um and therefore, what we did. Um, we actually touched all aspects of the research, not just quantitative aspect, but also qualitative and using the secondary data. So not many research actually touches all the three aspects of that. When I say qualitative research is where you actually kind of interview with set of people with different personas, and then you triangulate those information. So what we did from a qualitative research, we had three sets of personas where we really interviewed. The first persona that we interviewed were the ex Flipkart employees. We call them as Flipsters, where they've become entrepreneurs now, right? More than almost a couple of dozen of entrepreneurs that we really interviewed. There again, we had a good range of sample that we picked, both from the gender. We had entrepreneurs, male as well as female, from tech to non-tech, from e-commerce to non-e-commerce, where some entrepreneurs where they have their companies have already crossed $1 billion valuation, or some in a very early stage around 10-20 million dollars. So for the sampling aspect, we actually had a good section. So that's the first persona. We interviewed the ex flipsters who are entrepreneurs now. The second sample is those employees who have seen the Flipkart journey in the last 1.5 decade. So we have actually interviewed them and understood how they've really perceived or experienced the culture from then to now. And the third set, the personas, like we also interviewed CEO and the one of the co-founder, and then we triangulated all of that, and then I will show you that result in the as we really move on in one of the slides. It's a uh, very insightful slide. The second is the quantitative research. The quantitative research is a questionnaire through which that we kind of touch a lot of people across Flipkart. In fact, we have supply chain business, we have technology, we have business, corporate function. We ensure that there is a right sample set is kind of covered across all these four kind of functions, not just function but also different grades, gender, their experience, so that when you take the final output, it's a good representation of that. So that's the second. And the third, of course, we used all the secondary data, published reports, which are available on public domain. So basis this is where that we started to crunch our data and then end with the research. So that's pretty much is the scope uh, on the boundaries of this research. So why I've taken time to really explain, because this is very important for any research to kind of tell the validity and reliability of the study. Okay, so the first part, what we really understood is why as an author we were curious to embark on the research. The second, what are the gaps that this research is filling, and third, the boundaries and scope of the research. So that's pretty much the first part of why we embarked on the study. So now comes the what, right? What is Flipkart's culture? I'm going to really walk you through on a couple of slides in terms of our culture, and I'm going to use a little bit of a metaphor in terms of a storytelling. Right, our culture is the combination of three. It's purpose, values, and the EVP. So what's the purpose? Purpose is a very, very compelling purpose that we have at Flipkart. It says empowering every Indian's dream by delivering value through innovation and technology and commerce. So empowering every Indian dreams is something that whatever that we really do, whether in HR practices, policies, or the business models, or the lines of business, all we kind of think is like, how do we really empower every Indian dreams? So that's very, very core to us. The second are our values. So the values are very simple. It's ABC, I and I. A stands for audacity, B is bias for action, C is customer centricity, the first I is integrity, and second I is inclusion. So whatever we really do, we make sure that we actually touch on all these elements, right? Is the organization uh, thrives on innovation because it's very audacious company, right? So A stands for audacity. So absolutely execution focused because there is a high bias for action, right? And then it's very, very customer first. So whatever we really do, our first principle is how is this going to really help enable the customer, right? With absolute integrity and inclusion. So that's our value. And the last is that you just see here is the EVP, which is the employee value proposition. Our employees experience the organization. So what we say is together we dare to maximize. What is that we maximize? We maximize the well-being. We maximize the development. We maximize how they kind of experience the organization in working with the best, right? How they're really taken care. So their growth, all of that. So that is what is our employee value proposition. If you ask me, all of these three, the purpose, values, and the EVP, is what would really culminate into a culture of entrepreneurship. right? Um, I know this is a little bit of uh, a lot of us, we have experienced in organization. I wanted to kind of explain this a little bit through a metaphor, right? Let's imagine a bit an airplane, right? In an airplane, what are very key components which actually keeps the flight forward is, of course, the engine is very important. Then you have the wings and the rudders, and finally the pilots, right? How do I really decode all of this? Um, our Flipkart purpose is the engine that powers us forward. The engine is like our Flipkart purpose, which really powers the flight forward. So that's a very important element. The wings are like our AVP that gives us the flight, right? And the last one is the rudders. Um, Rudders are like our Flipkart values. It's like your moral compass, which gives us the right direction, right? These are the three. And the last, which is very important, is are the co-pilots, right? The co-pilots, one, the HR is a co-pilot, second is the management. So they are the one who are responsible to kind of take care of the passengers are nothing but employees. I want you to imagine a little bit now as an organization. So they are responsible for those passengers. They are nothing but the employees. And where they want to go to their desired destination. And the pilot's job is to kind of um, uh, take the flight to the desired destination on time and safely, right? So that's how the culture that I would really decode. I would keep bringing this metaphor of airplane again and again, so that we will be able to relate this as we start explaining this, how this culture is enabling business through three use cases that I'm going to really present. um, I hope this is clear at this point in time. Any questions that you may have, maybe you can post it in the chat. I can stop this a bit for now, and I can take one or two questions. Bharat, do you want to? Bharat, if there are any questions on the chat, you can probably WhatsApp that to me, and then I can answer. Else, I can move on.
Sure, Dr. Varadharaju. We'll send you a few questions.
Okay. I just want to make this session more interactive. I know in a virtual setup it's very very difficult, and that's the reason I have requested the organizing team to at least flash some Mentimeters, and then these questions can actually bring us closer.
Sir, we don't have any questions
Okay.
until now.
Okay.
Probably we can take them at the end of the
Yeah.
session. That works
Sure.
for you?
Okay.
Or we
Okay.
can,
Okay.
uh, to all our audience, if you would want to ask any questions at this point in time related to whatever Dr. Varadharaju has talked about, feel free to comment.
Okay. If there are no questions, then I would move on.
And of course, you do have the opportunity of asking the questions in the end. But
Yeah. Yeah. If you get any question, do.
this is a great opportunity to ask your
Okay. Else
questions.
we can
Anything that
go
you
to
want
the
to talk about
Meditator.
related to entrepreneurship, corporate entrepreneurship.
Pulkit, else we can just go to the third
Nothing in
Mentimeter
the chat
question.
box, sir. I think, and few people are saying things are very clear, so we can move on.
Okay. Okay. Let's kind of flash the third Mentimeter question, Bharat.
Okay, there's one question. There's one question, sir, that has come up from Miss Isha Darshi P. Mishra. What is the way to build a FK-like culture in a PE setup where burn is not an option and results need to come through?
Okay. Okay. Um, so I think it's a great question. I would probably reserve
Sir, we are
this
not able to hear
question.
you.
You're not able to hear me?
Yeah, now you're audible.
Hello?
Please go ahead. Yeah, now we can hear you.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Actually, it's a great question. in terms of what can really drive an organization. I think they've given a PE firm where they can't really the burn versus the output, right? Um, I would probably start nudging them to kind of think, do they have a compelling purpose, right? I can give my personal example. One of the reason for me to kind of join an organization is this purpose of, look at the purpose, it says like empowering every Indian's dream, right? So do you want an organization where it has a very compelling purpose and it gets all the like-minded people to really come together for a common cause called success, right? And during my research, what I've understood is the way in which it is written is probably a little more sophisticated than before, but then the essence of this hasn't changed, because I also interacted with the co-founder. I think their journey in the last decade and a half and two, I think this purpose is the one which actually kept very all of us very sharp, and what we have to really do. That's number one. Number two, what is really important is the values that we really carry, right? This slide is actually is a telling slide, right? The values also, like ABC, I and I, hasn't really changed. It's as an organization, what really helped Flipkart thrive forward is it's an extremely audacious organization, right? Extremely audacious organization. I'm going to give you some use cases of how this audacity of this value have stemmed some of those business innovations, right? I'm going to really talk about it. So very audacious. Whenever then they a company thrives on audacity, then the culture becomes a culture of experimentation, and risk taking becomes extremely obvious, right? um, where there are a lot of experiments that would really take part in just that, how do we really take care of our customers need, right? That's your third element in the values, which is your C. um, so all of this, in my view, are important. If people don't experience the values on a day to day, then it becomes a wall hanger. And if people are not clear about what is the purpose of the organization, why they are really working in an organization, then again it becomes a wall hanger. So the choice that we have with us as HR fraternity here is, do you want your purpose and values as a wall hanger, or as something which is more like where people can live and experience? So that is what is extremely key. And I will explain, Isha, as we really go through some of the use cases. You will see this lot more kind of the point that whatever I said would really kind of make it more appealing. Okay, so great question. I think the first question is a great question, deserves a book, Pulkit. All right. So, Bharat, can we just get on the third and the final Mentimeter question?
Sure. So we are going to flash the third question now. Yeah, it's on the screen. What are the key bottlenecks for customers to shop in e-commerce?
I'm sure all of you are you kind of shop in e-commerce sites on a regular basis. What are the challenges? What do you think would be the key bottlenecks for you to really shop, or what would be the key enabler for you to really shop? Yeah, anything is fine. Bharat, any answers on the Mentimeter chat?
Yeah, so we have one response, trial exchange immediately. But I would urge the audience to chime in their responses, please. Or if you don't want to go to Mentimeter, you can drop the responses in the chat box. We'll read it out for Dr. Varadharaju. Not much of a response on this one, Dr.
Okay,
Varadharaju.
okay. All right,
And then
okay. Let me
going.
just break the silence. The reason to buy would be like everything starts with the trust, right? One need to really trust. And then in today's world, it's all about speed. People talk about 10-minute delivery, half an hour delivery, 1 day delivery. Speed becomes important. But at the same time, value for money. That's again, as an Indian, that we want to make sure that so there is a good value for money. Of course, without compromising the quality. We live in the age of intent. Personalization becomes very important. When we look at our homepage, is it really personalized to me, or it is very general? If I do a search, what are the kinds of product that really shows up to me versus to others? And the experience, the customer experience, is again a very important element. And finally, the selection. All of this put together, in my view, are the critical components for a reason to buy, right? So keeping this in place, I'm now going to really start with some use case. Three use case I'm going to really bring in. um, Use case number one, I'm going to do this cash on delivery. This is the first use case where there is a business innovation. The cash on delivery, if I have to really hog your memory back, this was the first time that Flipkart introduced a decade ago. The reason why Flipkart introduced this, maybe an e-commerce experience a decade and a half back and now, has really emerged, right? And not just from an experience standpoint, but also like how that we need to cater to customer. At that point in time, most of the time the shopping happens where people go to a shop, an offline shop, where, let's say, like, I want to buy a red salwar. I go to a particular floor, look at the salwar rack and see whether it's a red or a maroon, pick the red, and then look at the touch and feel the quality of it, and then look at the tag, price tag. And then if I really like, I take the product and then I go and give it to the counter, pay, and then get the product back. So that's how our shopping experience traditionally have been. When uh, when uh, the e-commerce first came into to an existence, so what really happened is, all that you have seeing the experience is pretty much all of them are through this mobile, right? So whatever you are telling, that red kurta that you are just seeing in this mobile phone, and then it might really say that as a cotton, but you don't know whether it's a cotton or something else. Is it a red or a maroon, right? And the end of the transaction, what it would really say is complete by paying this. I'm talking about a decade and a half back. So therefore, the people had, uh, I would say, broadly say, the trust issue in terms of, I don't know whether it's the kind of salwar that I selected going to really land in terms of quality, color, the size, and you are asking me to pay now. What is the guarantee that I get my product? So that's where, like, Flipkart saw the opportunity, keeping the customers first. That's one of our value proposition, and being very audacious, our value system, right? And they introduce cash on delivery, right? And this is the first I would just say like business, a big business innovation that had really taken part, and now all of you, you have seen like this is part and parcel of today's transaction. So that's the first big breakthrough. So why I'm just talking about this is I want all of you to keep in mind how this the culture of customer first and audacity and the empowering every Indian dreams have kind of gave birth to cash on delivery. That's one. Second, BNPL, which is buy now pay later. Yes, if you just look back, a majority of the, if you just break the India into like elite, mid, and then low, and you would just say a chunk of people, they either into the mid to low, they might really like a product, but they may not really have the money to really pay. So that's where like this construct of buy now pay later came into. That's again a business innovation that really stemmed. That's again keeping these values, the innovation that the organization has really done. So therefore, what I want really kind of reiterate again is these are not the values, and the purpose are not the wall hanger. They are the key business drivers of how that your business would engage with your customer. So that's the first use case, right? So the business revolution is what that we really did. The second, I want really now touch on the people side of it, right? um, so we like Flipkart was the first in India to introduce PWD hubs. PWD means people with disability hubs, right? And this is the hub that we have introduced some years back in Delhi, uh, and this hub is completely run by PWD, and they do about, like, I'm talking about a little dated number. At that point in time, it was 2000 delivery with a customer satisfaction of 97%. So that's the big one. And there is also a diversity hub that we have in Chennai, like they're called as Chennai Super Queens, like your CSK, and it's been run by complete women only force. I'm going to play a video here, and this is going to speak thousand words than what I'm going to really explain, right? Just confirm if this is audible to all of you. Just 1 second.
Dr. Varadharaju, you may want to put
Screen
it
is
on
not coming.
screen mode, please. Yeah. Dr. Varadharaju, I think there's some issue with the audio. The audience is not able to hear. Visuals are perfectly fine, but the audio is not there. Yeah, Dr. Varadharaju, I think there was some issue with the audio. The audience was not able to hear. The visuals were all perfect. I don't know what went wrong there.
How about now? Is it better?
No, we can hear you, but the videos,
Can you,
audio.
Pulkit, can you talk to me on phone? Pulkit,
Yes, yes, yes.
is it audible now? Pulkit, can you just Sorry, I've just got the message from the organizing team that you are only able to see the visual but not the audio. Murphy's Law is clearly working here. We tested this some 30 minutes back and it was working fine. Sorry about that. What I was just trying to really say is how as Flipkart we truly live the value of inclusion, right? A lot of times people talk about inclusion, but then this is a true in terms of bringing inclusion to life by giving people with disability their life and then how they can really express themselves as heroes. This is the first hub in India in Delhi that we have really did, and also a few quarters back we also launched a hub with 100% lgbtqi plus employees with all representation from all lgbts. That's again first time in India that we really did. All this stems from our value, the value of inclusion and being very
Dr.
audacious,
Dr.
right?
Varadharaju,
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt you, sir. Sorry to interrupt you, but you have to share your screen. The audience is not able to see the slide where.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, you'll have to share your screen again.
Yeah, share my screen again, is it? Okay, I will do
Yes,
that.
please.
Can you see the screen now?
Yes, we can.
Pulkit, you
Perfect.
have to. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, you may want to put it in
This
full
is
screen
this
mode.
is the slide. Yeah, yeah. This is the slide that we just saw. That how the same voiceover of how Flipkart has created those hubs, which is completely run by PWD, completely run by LGBTQI, completely run by diversity women only. Uh, all possible, just kind of making sure that we are living our value of inclusion and being very, very audacious. And it's not like empowering every Indian dreams. This is also true for our own Flipkart employees. How can we really empower the really dreams? So that's how, like, how important the purpose and the values, if you can start living those values, then employees would truly experience that. Okay. The third use case that I have is the engineering use case. It's a virtual try on. And the beauty sector is the most growing sector. And a lot of times, if you want to go and buy a beauty product, uh, what we have really noticed is generally people go either to a beautician or to a dermatologist for them to first test the skin, because all skins are not the same. Some might have a dry skin, some would have a wrinkled skin, oily skin. One need to really understand what is your type of skin, what kind of product would really suit you, and then address the issues, or how, not just the issue, like how you want your skin to really look like, right? For that, pretty much one need to really visit either the clinic or the doctor's place or whatever. So this is the big innovation that we really did. It's a virtual try on. All you have to really do is take a selfie of your face and kind of answer few questions, and it would the app would very quickly tell you what is your skin type, what kind of skin product that one can really use, and how it can really elevate your skin, right? So that's another I would just say um, use case that I want to really share. The engineering innovation. Again, this if you look at it in all the three use cases, you would consistently see either your values or the purpose, or together are the ones which actually powers the business, right? That drives the business. Either it could be like your business innovation or engineering evolutions or people practice. All of this are the very key element. So somebody had asked the question, Isha, if I'm right, how can you really set up a culture? These are exactly, it cannot be a wall hanger. You have to start living it and making sure, like, um, anything around business or people practice, just make sure this is your foundation, right? So those are the three aspects that I want really uh, kind of this is more how that a culture can be experienced in an organization. So this is a slide that I always like. As we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give people permission to do the same. As how do I really decode this slide? Is as uh, Flipkart's light was really shining bright. It unconsciously gave people the permission to shine again. And therefore, look at how that airline. So I was telling you that I'll keep getting you with um, the airplane metaphor. So look at the companies emerged from Flipkart from like 2000. Early 2000 to the early 2020. So in the last decade and a half, this is again a bit dated one. So this number is steadily growing, and this is the contribution of Flipkart to the startup ecosystem, right? So we started Flipkart as an airplane. With this contribution, it has become translated itself as an airport, right? There are several companies emerged from Flipkart. There are again their individual airplanes. They're carrying their passengers to their desired destination. And that's how, as a culture, that if I really decode, the culture is not just that is really helping Flipkart to really grow, but also helping the ecosystem to really evolve and go about it. So that's pretty much the Flipkart story. And now I want to really decode the culture piece of it, because I've been talking about that from a research. I'm going to really share what is this culture that really prevails at Flipkart. So here are the set of culture, which is through our interview that we had. These the salient features of is a culture uh, provides that autonomy to individuals. Does it really help challenge the status quo continuously, right? Is this the an environment which is conducive to kind of embark on innovation? And how empowered is the organization? Is it organization empowering the individuals top to bottom, right, for them to enable experiments, right, generate solutions to problems? How open are they to the new ideas, creatives, and initiatives? How proactive is an organization as a whole? How rewarding is the organization for all those innovations, right? And how tolerance to the failure. It's not like all the experiment that you do that sees the light. Of course there will be a bunch which will not be so successful. How tolerant is your organization on those failures? And of course the sense of belongingness is very important. That really comes as a binding force when the employees see a very powerful, compelling purpose and the value. So this is in a, by and large a culture. So when we did the study, I told that we had three personas. One is ex Flipsters turning entrepreneurs. Second is the employees of Flipkart at the management level, where they've seen more than decade and a half, how the culture that they've really experienced. And final one is your founder and the CEO. And we have triangulated all of that. The green box here, where it's a cross section of all the three have consistently experienced the organization. This is like a very quick in decision making, very audacious. It provides a lot of autonomy. There is a innovation not just top down but bottoms up. It challenges status quo, right? It's extreme customer first, customer obsessed organization, so on and so forth. And there are two of the cross section that they have really experienced is where the failure tolerated, limited bureaucracy, right, supports employees with resources and all of it. But what is important here, almost 75% of that particular culture that I really showed, pretty much all the three cohort have consistently experienced. And not even one of the trait where either the executives of Flipkart who have experienced Flipkart for more than a decade, or the founder CEO or the ex Flipsters, none of them said, not even one, that is out of the radar. So that is what to me is very important aspect. Is your culture consistently experienced and lived in an organization, right? This is the proof the pudding, and research very clearly clarifies this, right? And therefore the culture is what? Culture is therefore not just impacting us, but the startup ecosystem in India as whole. This is what the summary that I want to really put it in front of you. If you want to learn more about this, I would encourage you to read one of these books or both of the books. Why these two books? The book on your right hand corner of your screen, Be Unique the Flipkart Way. It's a complete the book would if you are a researcher, if you want to go details of it, you will see uh, I will explain. One of the chapter is full of journal reviews. We have reviewed more than 40-50 journals, and you will see the remarks around the journal. How did we really arrived on this particular topic on corporate entrepreneurship? Then one of the chapters, because it's we did the quantitative and qualitative study. There is a lot of data crunching. You will see like some tables, graphs, right? How did we regression analysis and all of this. So if you want to dive deep, go deeper into it, I would recommend this book. But the same book is been A Billion Dreams, where we have broken that into 10 chapters of storytelling. Then if you want to have a slightly a lighter read, more like an airport lounge read, then I would encourage you to pick up this book. The book is not just available in Flipkart, but also in other places. So that's pretty much what I wanted to really share to all of you. I guess I stuck to my 40-45 minutes. Thank you so much to all of you. I hope you really kind of had some good takeaway from this masterclass. With this, I'm turning it back to Pulkit. Pulkit, I'm just stop sharing my screen.
Uh, Thanks, Dr. Varadharaju. So we are now opening the floor for questions from the audience. We do have one question here from Ms. Vidya Balan. Are there specific frameworks or models that HRs should follow when implementing corporate entrepreneurship within an organization? Dr. Varadharaju,
You're
that's
very.
the question.
I'm not able to. I'm not able to hear you. I think it's quite. You are cutting in and out, Pulkit.
Hold on a minute. We'll send across the question to you. Uh,
Yeah.
let's
I
send the
can. I can.
question.
I can see this now. Are there any specific? Yeah.
Okay.
Vidya Balan has said, are these specific frameworks and models that HR should follow? Then okay. In fact, Vidya, we have given some frameworks in the book. I did not cover this in today's session. You can definitely look at those frameworks, based framework. You can definitely look at that. If you ask me, can it be a direct Control C, Control V? I would say maybe not, um, because you'll have to customize to your organization's need. But definitely, you can take that as a reference material. Pulkit?
You can hear me, right?
Yeah. I
So,
just answered Vidya Balan's
thank,
question.
thank you, sir. Any more questions from the audience? Folks, you can punch in all the questions in the chat box.
And I just saw one from Srinath. It says like great session, Varda. Like one question is what on top of mind, top three elements of Flipkart's culture that created this wonderful entrepreneurship. I hope, Srinath, I answered by explaining those diagrams, Venn diagrams. Those are the key. I cannot really say like one or two, but here are the bunch of 8 to 10 culture traits which really drives the corporate entrepreneurship forward. Okay. There are any more questions, Pulkit?
No, nothing as of now. Folks, this is the last
Okay.
and final call. Yeah. Okay, I think we got a question from Mr. Mohammed Mohiddin. What are some mistakes or lessons learned from failed corporate entrepreneurship initiatives, and how can HR avoid them? I think that's a great question.
Okay. See, as an organization, uh, if your culture says like experimentation, um, so when you carry out experiments, not all experiments would see the light. I can give an example. Um, Today it's all about quick commerce, right? It's all about 10 minutes delivery. So you have different players, they really cater to the market. But then v- f- I just want to really share here is Flipkart was the first to really experiment this, like at least 3 years 4 years back, right? So not all the time you find a great product market fit, you experiment and then you take it back, then you do it one more time, and then you do. But the never give up is the very important element. You keep refining those PMF and then come to market. So now finally, like we are there as Flipkart Minutes. So that is how, like, even you grow really big, how do you really treat um like your experiments, and how do you really look at your experiments and then learn from them, and then come back and then repivot them, and then land is a very important element.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Any more questions, folks? I just want to, uh, remind you all that from all the questions that get asked, Dr. Varadharaju will select a few questions that really, were intriguing and impressed him the most, and those folks carry a chance to get a signed copy of this awesome book on Flipkart that Dr. Varadharaju has penned down.
Yeah, in fact, I would say like all the four questions that I really answered. The first one from Misha, second from Vidya Balan, third from Srinath, and fourth from Mohammed. I would really love to give them a copy, Pulkit.
Okay, okay. So we have a space for one
So
more, right? And I think there's a question from Miss
yeah, yeah.
Fatima Masalawala. Any Flipsters? I
So
don't know whether. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Please.
yeah. We have social entrepreneurs also. In fact, I think Mekan Maheshwari is one of our ex engineering leader, and then he also led HR. He is actually a social entrepreneur now, right? So people are also getting into social entrepreneurship. So that's, I just forgot his organization name, Mekan Maheshwari. So that's the other. So how do we? There is Vasanti. Like, there is a interesting question. How do we inculcate corporate values, and not as just as wall hangers? It is just your rituals, Vidya. For example, B is your bias for action. In fact, every time any reviews, business reviews or HR reviews, it's a very actionable item that really comes. And then, in fact, sometimes even in an engineering review in a QBR, I have seen like the deadlines are, oh, let's kind of fix this in next 48 hours. Let's say, like, let's do it in this week. So there is a very high rigor. It's not like you talk about it and then you really forget. And being very audacious, for example, let's say market grows at 10%, but then when it is presented, the leaders are challenged, why can't we kind of break it and then do it at a 50%, right? How do we really think? For example, one more example that I can really give you, right? One of our EVP, employee value proposition, is we care. When you truly say we care, we have to really live that value. During the COVID times, we were the first to introduce the medical insurance for our employees, which are completely unlimited medical insurance, uncapped, right? Which is very unheard of. So when you say like, we maximize, we care for you, you have to really kind of translate that. This is a great example that I can really give as an HR fraternity here. Hope that answers. Okay. All right. We are. There are other questions. Maybe I can take it offline. Pulkit, thanks so much for giving me an opportunity to share our research to this wonderful audience. Thank you so much, HR1 and Pulkit, for giving me opportunity
Thank you,
here.
Dr.
Any takeaway? I
Thank you.
would
Thank you
turn
so
it
much.
back to Pulkit. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your profound knowledge and expertise with us on today's masterclass. I think the insights that you shared were both thought-provoking and very practical, right? Something that has been carried out at Flipkart, and of course, it's a poster boy of startups when it comes to uh, startup as a segment. So, thanks for sharing all the valuable strategies, and I'm sure it would help all the HR leaders out there to incubate corporate entrepreneurship in their respective organizations. Truly appreciate your thoughts and comments. To all the folks who joined us today, if you would want to join more such awesome masterclasses, please join us on HROne Commune, right? That's a community that HROne is trying to build to help all the HR leaders get better at what they do, right? And help them secure a seat in the boardroom. And you can also follow us on multiple channels, right? But thanks again for joining us today. And thanks again to you, Dr. Varadharaju, for chairing today's masterclass. I will also request. Okay, thank you, sir. I would request you to join us on the link, right? That my colleague Bharat has dropped in the LinkedIn Live comment section. You are just a click away from joining us on HR1 Commune. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.